Good morning. It is Tuesday, the 5th of June, 2018. Sorry I was not here yesterday. I had once in the spring slash summer, my wife has her supervisees. She's a psychologist, and her they have interns that come and go around the same time. So once a year, we have them over, and I cook breakfast for all of these mind readers. Well, one mind reader and a number of aspiring mind readers. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at what we have going on in our markets today. So, on Friday, we were looking at a couple long positions in cryptos. Really, nothing looking at taking a whole lot of positions because of the eco news releases that come out on Friday. So we didn't have any trades there. So let's look ahead to today. And I guess in a way, it's kind of nice that we had a day off yesterday, because Mondays are somewhat kind of blech days, and Tuesdays are called turnaround Tuesdays. Tuesdays are when we get to see some real kind of return to norm in our markets. So let's go ahead and take a look here at what we have going on. Let's start off with gold. We got the gold chart here. So gold, we're going to be using the Ichimoku system again, basing our time together mostly on the Ichimoku system and incorporating my own, incorporating the Gann stuff in addition to that. So gold, if we look at it on the daily, it's still in a downtrend. We're not in oversold conditions on the stochastics indicator. If you notice that, over last week and the week before, we traded up to the baseline and found rejection. And then yesterday we traded up and found rejection at the conversion line, or the Tenkan-sen line, the blue line here. And now currently we are just below that. So what we're looking at is some further drive lower after this rejection. And we should see gold experience another shift or leg down here on the daily. If we look at it on the 4-hour chart, we're looking a little bit more supportive it's not really supportive for buying, but we are in conditions for wanting to hold tight. But if we look at our chart here, and we remember, well, what's the rules for going short in the Ichimoku system? So the cloud ahead has to be red or bearish, which it is. We need to have the conversion line below the baseline, which it is. We need to have price below the cloud, which it is. And we need to have the lagging span below the cloud, which it is not. So once the lagging span moves below the cloud here on the 4-hour chart, then we can look at taking the short. We'll have a good short signal if that happens. So we should really look going and entering on that short at the 1289.29 area. What did I say? 1289.89. That's on the 4-hour itchy. And so that is our gold trade. Looking at the dollar yen, we actually had a head and shoulders pattern that played, well, a few of them that played out, sold off, traded down, moved back up. So we are currently sitting in another condition here where we can consider going long again eventually. We have an inverse head and shoulders here. Looking at the chart, this is a good example of looking at where we just looked at gold. We were looking at how do you determine where to take a short, what are the rules, and the rules for that we just went over. So the rules for going long on the Ichimoku system are just the inverse of that. And so our rules are, is the cloud ahead green? It is. Is the conversion line greater than the baseline? Or is the Tenkan-sen greater than the Kijun-sen? It is. Is price above the cloud? No. Is the lagging span above the cloud? No. So there is no long trade yet. But when would that happen? So if we were to take the earliest opportunity that we could get the lagging span to break out, let's go ahead and say the 110.30 zone. That would be our long entry. That is based solely on just the 4-hour chart here. And let's see, moving on. Look at the Aussie dollar. And so on the Aussie dollar, we see that I want to show you this one. Aussie dollar yesterday had a big old rally. And where did we trade up to? Well, we traded up to this angle here. We traded up to this long-term trend line, and we found rejection off of it. All right, we found some nice stiff rejection off of that level, and it has continued to drive down lower. In fact, on the 4-hour Ichimoku here, we fell down below the conversion line, so that's signifying weakness in the overall trend. Where am I at? Right. Weakness in the overall trend, so we could see, we have a fairly typical bear flag set up here. So we could see just a return back to lower prices, but really we don't have a clear trade here for going short or long because we're below here. So looking at this on the 4-hour chart, really no trade. Let's check it out on the 1-hour. 1 hour certainly not looking like we want to take along here either. So, and price is going to be entering the cloud. And again, if price enters the cloud, that means that we don't take a trade. There's no trading when price goes into the cloud. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Looking here on the hourly, very similar condition. Looks like we found a little bit of support here off of the top of the 1-hour cloud. If we flip it over to the 4-hour chart, which is my favorite to trade on the Ichimoku system, we look like we may have found some support here on the conversion line. We'd like to see if price is going to be in a strong trend, we want to see the conversion line more than anything hold as a zone of support. Currently, that is not what's going on here. We are actually we're trading at 70.16, and we're 2 pips below the conversion line. However, if we look at our oscillators here, we can see that we're coming off of some extended overbought conditions, and so it is very possible that we break down further and that this will not hold as a support zone. The pound dollar on the 4-hour chart looks like, if we look at the long-term view here, we go all the way back to April, and where we're at this high, and then we swung down low here, and we've continued to trade lower. Found a little bit of a rally since last week. On the 29th, we traded up a little bit, and because we've gone from 132 all the way to 133.50 something, so about 150 pips of a retracement we've had, and now we are just kind of sitting inside the cloud here, showing some signs of consolidation. Now, this is a odd price activity here. It's a very it's very large, very respective of indecision. It's just such a weird setup here. So we're inside the cloud. The overall trend is still bearish, and this looks like we're just experiencing a pullback. So let's see what happens while we're inside the cloud here. We have 2 conditions met for going long, where we have the cloud ahead is green and conversion is greater than the baseline, but price is still not outside of the cloud on the 4-hour chart, and neither is the lagging span. in fact, we're finding resistance right up against the top of the 4-hour cloud here. So that may continue to hold. We'll have to see. Now, not really seeing. I mean, if we were to get a breakdown, we'd have to get the lagging span below price again, and price below the cloud, and so that would have to bring us probably, because we want the lagging span below price to like 132.52. That's a ways down there. I mean, that would probably extend over a few days before we would get that kind of a trade set up, but certainly something to still keep an eye on. Euro dollar, we had a bit of a drive here, and I want to go over the market geometry here because this is sitting in a very, very touchy area right now. Notice how we found some support here right at the top of that 4-hour cloud here, but get rid of the Ichimoku system for a second. This angle, I've been talking about this last week or so, a couple weeks maybe, last couple weeks, where this zone's going to be difficult to find a clear direction. We're getting close to a perfect square, or not a perfect square. We're getting close to a new square of 90, and in the euro, the square of 90 cycle goes every 5 years and 4 months. 5 years, 4 months, and 2 weeks, I think, is what it is. So back in 2013 is where this current square we're in started, and we are breaking into a new one here, starting on the 16th of June. Now we got to remember that the rule of angles in Gann's work, he says that the rule of angles is that if price crosses and closes below an angle, it will move to test the next one. Okay? Now we found some structural horizontal support at a major harmonic and then an inner harmonic down here when we traded up, but we have failed to really get back above this angle and we've fallen below it. And then we fell back below this fib line in our square of 90, and we're currently trading below this angle again. So again, hard to determine which direction we're going to go here, but certainly if the overall trend is still down and we've had a bit of a bounce here, relief rally, then we should consider that to be the trend still. I mean, if the trend is your friend, the trend is still down, and if we're at a key zone and we're not showing any clear signs of support after all this activity, then the bias is certainly still to the downside. So let's look at this on the Ichimoku system. If we're looking here and we see we have our 4-hour chart, we see that we have 3 conditions met for going long, but we're still missing one of them, and that is that the lagging span is above price, which it's not. And we're currently trading off of when we started trading up, we found some resistance against the conversion line here, and now we're kind of in between the conversion line and the top of the 4-hour cloud. So that's going to be a very normal area of difficulty and a very normal zone to find some little bit of bouncing going on in here. So certainly the conditions we're going to need to go short again or long are the ranges are pretty big, because where the lagging span is right now, we need to get back below price. Since we're already below the cloud, we don't want to wait until just price gets below the cloud. Now we want to wait for price to get below the cloud and the lagging span to get back below the current price action. So if we're looking at this, we're seeing that we would need, moving forward, to get outside of the cloud down here, we would probably be looking at, and this is in the next 2 days, so that's kind of a harder trade to look at if we look at this on the hourly. Now the hourly is giving us maybe more of a better short opportunity. Definitely it is. So we're going to have a cloud that's going to be red here pretty soon. And we are also going to observe, if we break down lower, we'll see price break down lower outside the cloud and then the lagging span too. So probably, I mean, at the first hour, so maybe 10 in the morning, if we're down at 116.56, that would be a good short in the euro dollar. Because then we would have the cloud ahead would more than likely turn red by then. Lagging span would, it's giving it enough leeway for the lagging span to be below the cloud, and price would definitely be trading down there. So yeah, those are good options right there. The 4-hour chart here would just take a little while, but I mean we're clearly looking at a bear flag set up after this drive down. We're seeing a pretty normal bear flag, and not noticing any type of real powerful bounce yet. US dollar, Canadian dollar on the 4-hour. We had a nice breakout back on the 24th here. This is just really blah, 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 all over the place. Really don't want to trade this until we get some more consolidation. Then we can trade on a breakout. I'm really not interested in participating in that one. The euro pound, blah, my gosh. If you want to see something crazy, look at this. Not here, but on this chart. Angles and the euro pound really like each other a lot. This thing is just redonkulous. It's just going all over the place. It's just silly. So we're on the euro pound. We're looking like we should have a bounce here, even though on the 1-hour Ichimoku system, we have a sell condition met on the 1 hour. We're below the cloud. Lagging span is below the cloud. Conversion line is below the baseline. Cloud ahead is red. So we have a sell signal here, even though. But on the market geometry, where we should be experiencing some type of supportive conditions because we're on an angle in these accelerated conditions on the 1-hour chart. Or accelerated extended conditions on the 1-hour chart. We look at the 4-hour chart. We see that we could be entering into selling conditions. This is a choppy trade. Oh my gosh. That is, oof, yuck. Don't like that. All right. Then we have dollar Swiss. Okay, we'll come back to the market geometry in a second. Let's take a peek at cryptocurrencies. This morning, ooh man, this is interesting. So this morning, Bitfinex was down for a little while. I think it came back up, or they're starting to come back up right before I started talking with you. I think they started to return. Let me take a look here. Okay, 39 minutes ago. Okay, they came back. Okay. 2 hours ago, they said trading and funding is currently paused whilst we undergo unplanned maintenance. Now, Bitfinex, in my opinion, is Mt. Gox 2.0. It's shady as hell. Anyways, when I'm looking at cryptos and I'm looking at the 4-hour chart, I'm not seeing really any strong pressure to sell off anymore. In fact, we're looking kind of like we're in some conditions to see another rise here, which could be happening here pretty soon. Really probably today we should see a nice drive higher. On the cloud, Are we above the cloud? Yeah, technically, we're above the cloud. But certainly, we the lagging span is not, and it would take a little while to get up there. Uh, on the 4 hour chart, on the 1 hour chart, pretty bearish on the 1 hour chart. Let's see what else. If we look at Ethereum, Ethereum is looking like we may have a lot more support. I mean, a lot more, a stronger bias for some bullish momentum. I know if we look at the 4 hour Ichimoku chart, it's looking a little easier for it to start to trade higher, because really, if we take a look here, we've got bullish conditions ahead. You know, the cloud is green. The conversion line is still above the baseline, and if we have enough push and momentum, we'll trade higher, and we may not see a red cloud in the future. But if price crosses back above the baseline, the conversion line, then we'll see the lagging span get a little closer to the breakout. So, you know, ultimately, on a very easy thing is we look to want to go long with the lagging span crossing above the cloud. So that would definitely be in the 630 zone. Although I'd be okay going long at like 615. So that is my 2 cents. Oh, we had some news release. Let's look here. Maybe. I cannot get it to pull up. Boot. Oh no, here it is. Just slow for some reason. Give me a minute. Okay, so wait, is that right? Oh, 9 o'clock. That's right. Okay, never mind. Oh, forget what I just said. Okay. Ethereum, Litecoin. Litecoin, very similar to Bitcoin's chart right now. Although Litecoin's a big laggard in a lot of in a ton of the majors. Well, the majors. I guess it's not even a ton of them. If we're talking about the Coinbase pairs of Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, Litecoin is certainly the laggard here. Oops, did not mean to scroll out that far. We're kind of sitting right on top of a support zone. EOS, I don't know if you've been paying attention to EOS at all or not, but EOS, its mainnet is in the process of launching. It's in phase 2 right now. You know, believe the hype or don't believe the hype, EOS is going to be a big moneymaker once all that's released. You had to have registered your coins before the 2nd, so over the weekend, but I believe there is a way to still get those registered, because many of the exchanges who hold EOS are registered. So that should be okay. Now, looking at this chart, we have a bullish chart here on the 4 hour. I mean, if I'm looking at this, we're right up against the conversion line and the baseline, and it's close enough on the 4 hour where I'm still saying that this is a support zone. Then even look at the 4 hour chart here. Look at the stochastic RSI and the composite index and how extended they are, and they're coming off of those levels. This is a supportive buy zone right here. So the EOS is a good long at 13.55. It is. Let's see here. What do we got? Steam. No, not really seeing much there. It's looking like a short, but with the whole market ready to... Cryptocurrencies are very, very tied to... I mean, you really don't need me to tell you this, but cryptocurrencies are strongly tied to the strength of Bitcoin. And so if we see Bitcoin is approaching some type of support level, and even though we see sell signals on some Bitcoin pairs, it's generally best just to see what Bitcoin is doing and use that as the primary signal, because we get into dangerous situations if we trade to the contrary of Bitcoin. It just doesn't work very well. Bitcoin Gold is very, very, very close to a monstrous breakout here. Even though we're in the cloud, just based off of everything else, Bitcoin Gold is... I think this is going to be a fantastic breakout. The fact that it's outperforming Bitcoin right now and everything else is kind of in the doldrums a little bit. Bitcoin Gold, while it's not popular, I actually really, really like Bitcoin Gold. It's one of my favorite cryptocurrencies, not because it trades well, but because of the politics behind it. So if you're unfamiliar with Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Gold is a hard fork of Bitcoin, and this is a more democratic Bitcoin. So Bitcoin Cash is essentially here's what you got going on. You have Bitcoin, which was intended to be a medium of trade that is controlled by no one, except miners can control it. Bitcoin Cash is directed and owned and for the most part controlled by large mining conglomerates. So big mining companies, or if you want to be all... I'm a staunch capitalist, but I really hate crony capitalism and oligarchies, and that is what Bitcoin Cash is. Bitcoin Gold is not that way. It has a proof of work. It is very democratic. It is more in line with the views of Satoshi Nakamoto than Bitcoin Cash is. So Bitcoin Gold, in a totally political and idealistic point of view, is one of my favorite cryptocurrencies. And it is also a good one to trade because it lags so much that the market in both underperformance and overperformance, or in even getting into equilibrium with the rest of the market, that it lags so much that it gets to have really great trading opportunities. And one is right now. Okay, this is one of the best setups that I've come across in a couple months, and I'm very excited about this one. Was that 0.0059? Yeah. The risk here is very limited. We're looking at your stop is below the cloud, and that is your risk compared to, man, there is a lot of... We have not had a bullish cloud since... I'm not even going to count that. Since the 2nd of May. And so this is all screaming a buy to me. Bitcoin Gold. I really like this chart. Anyways, let's do a little rundown of our foreign currency markets again. Looking at the gold dollar here on the 4-hour chart, still below the conversion line in the 4-hour cloud, waiting for that lagging span to drop below, and that has not happened yet. Dollar yen, still sitting around in here, not getting a clear direction, but finding support on the composite index, or not the composite index, the conversion line. The Aussie dollar 4-hour charts still breaking down further here. It looks like, well, actually, I found a little bit of a bid, but moving down still. The New Zealand dollar. Oh wow, that one really came down, didn't it? Pound out, pound found a little bit of a bounce there, right off. Pound bounced right off of that conversion line. Oh yeah, the pound may, if we're gonna, because I wanted to talk about going long here possibly too on a breakout. So if we were gonna go long, we would have to wait for this to break out, which would be, we'd have to break out above here. Be looking. Well, really, yeah, because we're already into like. I'm thinking right here. Yeah, it would be already into like a few days away. So really, yeah, never mind. Not worrying about a long there. Not worried about it. Euro. Yeah, Euro's continues to move down lower and approaching an area where we may go short. US dollar, Canadian dollar, boo, you're up there right now. And found it. Okay, yeah, here's where that bounce is coming. Even though we had a sell condition on the was that on the 1 hour? Yeah, on the 1 hour we have a sell setup, but is that on the 4 and the 1 hour we have a buy? Huh. Thinking out loud here. Nah. Never mind. And let's see, we've got one more I want to take a peek at. No, don't really. Anyways, we've got some trades in for the day looking at gold, pound, the dollar yen, the euro, Ethereum, EOS, and Bitcoin Gold. Got some trades that we're taking a peek at there. And we should look to see what those are going to do. We've got inverse head and shoulder patterns. We've got rejection moves, continuation moves, just all sorts of wild, fun, and interesting things going on this morning. So, yeah. Sorry I missed you guys yesterday, but we're going to have a good week this week, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.